Hey friends, today I'm reading a new book I just got called Terry Fox and Me. It's a true story about a young man in Canada. He lived, this happened back in the 70s and the 80s, and he had cancer. And it's a very inspiring story about how he didn't let it stop him, and it's just really a great book. The author's name is Mary Beth Leatherdale, and the illustrator is Milan Pavlovic. Let's see what you think. I really like this book, and I love reading all these true stories. This gives you a little more information about this kid, Terry. If you ever check out this book, you can read a little more about it. Every friendship starts somewhere. Ours began at the Mary Hill Cobras basketball tryouts in a small city in British Columbia where two rivers meet and become one. So the story starts in British Columbia, Canada. The coach blows his whistle and the drills begin. The kid in the yellow shirt is the only one shorter than me. What if I'm the worst player? I dribble, I pass, I shoot baskets, I block shots, I make the first string. The short kid is the worst player. His name is Terry Fox. The coach says wrestling might be a better sport for him, but if Terry comes to practice, the coach won't cut him from the team. I shouldn't be glad that I'm better than Terry, but I am. The next day, the phone rings. It's Terry. Hey, Doug, want to come play one-on-one? I need to work on my game. Nah, I can't. I'm busy, I say. I'm not really busy. I just don't want to play with the worst kid on the whole team. A week later, Terry's still calling. This guy just won't give up, and I like to win, so I say yes. School ends, but all summer long, Terry and I practice. Terry learns to keep his head up, stay low, step back, fake. Terry's not so bad. He's funny. He likes science. And best of all, he loves basketball, too. Even though I beat him every game, he never complains. By the time school starts, Terry's good enough to be on the roster. One of the 12 best players on the team, and I have a new best friend. Before long, we're in high school, and Terry grows taller than me. Now, when we play one-on-one, he beats me 21-0. I don't mind losing to Terry, though. Well, only a little. Terry and I don't hang out much anymore. He's busy with his new basketball teammates, going to parties and hanging out with friends. I'm busy, too, training for the biggest cross-country race of my life, the provincial championships. Cross-country is one of the sports that Terry doesn't like. Maybe it's because he's always far behind me. The night before the championship, my mind is spinning. What if I start too fast and lose steam by the end, or I hang back too long? What if I'm the slowest runner? Bring, bring! The phone startles me. It's Terry. Good luck tomorrow, he says. Just do your best, Doug, one step at a time. All through the race, Terry's voice echoes in my head. I win the second place medal. When university starts, Terry and I drive to the campus in his old beat-up car. Over the rattle of the muffler, he tells me his knee is hurting, probably from basketball practice on the hard gym floor. He doesn't want the coach to know. But a few weeks later, Terry can barely walk, so he goes to the hospital. When I visit Terry the next day, I see tears rolling down his face. He has a rare type of cancer. They're going to amputate his leg. In case you don't know what amputate means, it means they're going to have to cut his leg off to try to save him from the cancer. And remember, right now he's about 18 years old. Terry's the best athlete that I know. What can he do with only one leg? But Terry says not to feel sorry for him. Losing his leg is just a new challenge. After his operation, he shows me a magazine article about a guy with one leg who ran the New York City Marathon. Maybe I'll run across Canada, he says. I believe him. So as you can see that he has his leg bandaged. Terry stays at the hospital while he learns to walk with his prosthesis. That's a fake leg. He looks like the bionic man, all fiberglass and steel where the rest of his leg used to be. At first, Terry practices walking with 2 crutches, then 1 crutch, then just a cane. One day, I'm bringing him some schoolwork, and he surprises me at the elevator, empty hands raised in victory. How'd you walk here, I ask. "One step at a time," he says with a grin. He's very determined. Do you see how he's learning so fast to walk after he lost his leg? It's easy to get depressed when that happens, but he kept that motto in mind, one step at a time. The months speed by with treatments at the cancer center. As soon as Terry is finished with his treatments, he starts weight training to build his strength. Playing wheelchair basketball helps too. Sometimes we race up the pine-covered mountain, Terry in his wheelchair and me on foot. I always give him a head start. He hears my footsteps behind him and it makes him push harder. Seeing Terry in front of me makes me push harder too. He's working so hard. Can you imagine pushing yourself up a mountain with just your arms? Terry tells me a secret. He wants to run across Canada to raise money for cancer research. Will you help me train? I tell him to start slow, run a little farther each day. Give his body time to recover. In a year or two, he'll be ready. But it's not just Terry's body that has to adapt to running. It's his artificial leg, too. Terry and his prostheticist, that's the person who makes the prosthesis, a person who makes artificial limbs, get to work. They start with a regular artificial leg for walking, fiberglass bucket, metal shaft, springs, gears, foot made of rubber and wood. They add special parts for running, steel hinge for the knee, a belt to attach the leg, an elastic strap to pull the leg forward. Still, the heavy artificial leg moves too slowly, so Terry adjusts his gait, 2 steps with his good leg while his artificial leg swings forward. Wow, that sounds really difficult. So now it's 2020 and they make very, very, very special legs for runners that work amazing. But this is in like the 1970s, so they hadn't invented that yet. Even with his new leg, running is very painful for Terry, but that doesn't stop him. Terry runs at night under the warm glow of the stars. Some nights I run with him. Some nights he runs by himself. Hop, hop on his left leg. Long step with his right. I'm not very coordinated. I'd probably fall down. By the end of the summer, Terry is running 8 kilometers a day. I ask him if he wants to enter a race with me. When he tells me to enter him in the shorter distance, I push him. You run almost that far now. Why don't you run the longer distance? It'll be a bigger challenge. For a few minutes, Terry doesn't say a word. Then he answers, okay, Doug, I'll do it. The 28-kilometer race is grueling. The course is steep and along a busy highway. I finish 8th, one of my best times. Terry comes in last, grinning ear to ear. The crowd cheers. That's my best friend, I shout. If it's the truth, it's not really bragging, is it? It's pretty amazing. He finished a 28 kilometers. That's a long way. We begin planning Terry's cross-country run. He'll start in St. John's, Newfoundland next spring. To make it back home to British Columbia before winter, Terry will have to run a marathon every day. So a marathon is 26 miles. 200 marathons in a row. No one else in the world has ever run that far on just one leg. So this is a map of Canada. The United States is right below it. We're actually right about here. So he's going to start here and run all the way across Canada. I mean, it's so far. It's amazing. Terry trains even harder. Every day he runs. He never thinks about how far he has to go. He just takes it one step at a time, to the corner, to the stop sign, to the tree. Nothing will stop him from running. Not the flu, not blisters, not his leg bleeding. When I try to convince him to take a day off to rest his injuries, he gets mad. We argue. He keeps running. He's very determined. A few months before the run, I start to have second thoughts. I'm supposed to drive the van, get Terry water and food, keep track of how far he runs each day, talk to reporters, and collect money. How will I do all of that? I can't talk to reporters. I don't even know what to do if Terry gets hurt. Again and again, I ask Terry to find someone else to go with him. Soon Terry loses patience with me. He stomps toward me. You're my best friend. You have to go with me. Remember, take it one step at a time. Terry looks so different now, strong and powerful. If Terry can do this, I can do this. Remember, this is a true story. This really happened. When spring arrives, Terry's ready and so am I. We pick up the brand new camper van that will be our home for the next 5 months. It has everything we need: a fridge, stove, stereo, beds, a stinky chemical toilet. We load the cupboards with all of Terry's favorite foods: cereal, oranges, chocolate chip cookies, canned spaghetti, baked beans, peanut butter, and jelly. We gather all of Terry's running gear: 8 pairs of running shoes, 5 white t-shirts, 4 pairs of gray shorts, 3 artificial legs, and 1 lucky sock. Our great adventure begins in a large city in Newfoundland, where the island coastline meets the strong rolling tides. Side by side, we stand on the rocky shore. Terry dips his artificial leg into the swirling water. He turns to look up at the steep hill ahead. "Just do your best, Terry," I smile, "one step at a time." Then he starts to run. So this is a note from Terry's brother, Daryl Fox. It talks all about his brother. And here's a picture of the boy that lost his leg in real life. And here he is when he was a kid. Here he is on his basketball team. And here he is when he's speaking about just kind of what happened to him. I do have to say it's very sad because Terry was not able to finish his run. His cancer came back. And he stopped. Let me see if it says where he stopped. Oh, here's a picture of, there's a run that they do every year still in Canada in honor of Terry. And this is a picture of him on the t-shirt. I'm not seeing, oh, here it is. Here it says. So, unfortunately, he started running in the summer and in the spring, and then he had to stop in September, unfortunately, and he didn't even get as far as he'd hoped to. And then in June of 1991, his cancer had gotten so bad that he actually died, which is super sad. But he was so famous at this point that they had a giant memorial service for him, and his funeral was on television in Canada. And so now they have a run every single year in honor of him. And this is the 40th anniversary was this year. And 3 million kids participated in the run. That's a lot of kids. And they're still raising money for cancer research. And here he is. You can see him running right here. So this is another sad story, but it's a true story. And it just shows you how you can be determined in your life even when something goes wrong, like Terry was, and how he stayed really strong and stood up for what he believed, even though he had this terrible thing happen to him. I hope you enjoyed the story. Happy reading.